Hey everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of I Think You Should Meet. For those of you who have yet to listen to the trailer, the aim of this podcast is to affect change and foster meaningful relationships through a series of introductions. My guest list begins with inspiring individuals from my own circle that I think you should meet, all hailing from different backgrounds, but none that you would find in the mainstream media. They're not your New York Times bestselling authors or hosts of the latest TED Talk. Instead, they're the people in the trenches with the likes of you and me, here to share their story in the hopes that it might positively impact someone else. The catch is that to end each episode, my guest has to nominate someone from their own circle that they think I should meet to host as a guest in the future, and so on and so forth. You see, my goal is to bring you life stories and advice from the people that fly beneath the radar, but still have invaluable perspectives worth sharing, and to create a platform that holds space for the extra something in a seemingly ordinary person. So, that being said, I hope you stick around. Who knows? You might just find yourself on here one day. I'm Emily Curry, and this is I Think You Should Meet. On today's episode, I would like for you to meet my longtime friend, Jared Poole. Jared and I grew up together in Waco, spending our days at the lake and looking for just about any bit of trouble that we could get into. For Jared, it's always been about the simple things, enjoying a sunset cruise, spending time with friends, or strumming a tune on his guitar. However, his journey to date was not one without adversity. His story ebbs and flows through trials such as chronic illness, addiction, and injury. But nevertheless, he landed here on his feet today to share how he persisted and found his way back to himself through music. He recently left his comfortable desk job to pursue a career in music full-time as a singer, songwriter, and musician, and I've had the pleasure of attending a few of his shows here around Texas. And I can confidently say that Jared is an exponentially happier, healthier, and more authentic version of himself today than I've ever witnessed before. So, to say that he inspires me would be the understatement of the year, and I've asked him to be my first guest to share his evolution with you. Now, let's just jump right into our conversation. I want you to kick this part of the conversation off by giving your story, how you view the story that is Jared, what your evolution is, and how you got here today.
God, my story. I feel like my story really starts. So you and I went to high school together, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I was good at baseball in high school, so I went and played just a semester at the junior college in Waco at McLennan. Found out I wasn't good enough and quit and transferred to Texas Tech where you were. So for the next 3 years, I was in Lubbock.
I forgot you did MCC first.
Yeah. And then my life once baseball ended turned for the next 5 years it's a lot of blurry I don't know, times or past, I guess. When I was in college, I graduated from Tech. I actually did get my degree. And then went straight to Dallas to work for Hilton, where I worked for 8 months, and then we got furloughed. And then I was making more money on collecting, what is it, unemployment?
Mm-hmm.
Collecting unemployment.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Stimulus check over working for Hilton. So for like the next 8 months, I was unemployed, and I just completely, went off the rails as far as I was using Xanax like crazy. Everybody knows that about me. I was used Xanax for 5 years, drinking a lot, whatever, doing pretty much everything I can.
Yeah.
And then when I got furloughed, I was still making money, but I didn't have a job. So like for 8 months, I was just, I don't even remember those 8 months, to be honest. Like I was just so.
It was a problem before that, but that kind of sent you.
Yes, yeah, that sent me over the edge. So in the next 8 months, I totaled one truck. That's when I had the bad car accident.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up not being able to walk for the next 2 years with a thing on my leg, but didn't stop me then. So then I went and got a new car and did $10,000 worth of damage to it 2 weeks after flipping my truck 7 times. So,
jeez.
Anyways, got went to rehab in Florida. We got sober. We were sober for a year, relapsed, went back to rehab. Now I can say I haven't taken a pill or drank in, I don't know, it's been over like probably 3 years now.
Jeez.
But yeah, now we're here slumming it in Dallas. Uh,
That's one way to put it.
yeah, couch surfing.
Playing music.
I've been thinking about that couch surfing. That's just a bad title, but that'd be a good line in the song.
Yeah.
No, seriously, because like I've been living on Seth's couch. I've been living on your couch. I've been living on Nathan's couch. My parents.
Yeah.
It's been, but yeah, like I said, man, I get to say that I'm a musician now full time, and kind of just starting out. I just went full time like 6 months ago, so now we're here.
Early days of Jared.
Yeah, the grind starts.
Yeah. Well, we're in it now. Okay. So I want to jump into this like series of 6 different questions to break the ice and cover anything that we can jump into here shortly. So, first question. Who has been the biggest influence on your life?
Biggest influence on my life. It will probably, this goes back and forth all the time because there's been so many people throughout my journey that have helped me. But probably my dad, because a lot of people knows about him, but he's always supported me, but he's been very level headed through the whole thing. He's tried to understand. I don't think anybody that's not a drug addict or really has the disease will fully understand. But like,
Sure.
He's like tried to educate himself. I'm not saying my mom hasn't, but he's always just been there to listen. You know what I'm saying? Like when I just can call. I remember I was in Florida at the sober living house. I just gotten out of treatment. I was working at the PGA Superstore in West Palm Beach, Florida, and I'm in the parking lot before I'm going into work. And the sober living manager had you have no power when you live in a sober living house, which is the point of it. You're supposed to follow rules. You have to make your bed. You have to do all this kind of stuff. And if it's not up to par, you get strikes, you get kicked out, whatever. That's how it works, And me being who I am, I don't like being told what to do or how to do stuff.
You can't imagine.
But no, but I was trying to humble myself. It took a lot to lay down my pride and say, okay, I went to Florida thinking like, I remember I showed up and I said, I'm not an alcoholic. I'm just
just still in denial.
Just a pill. I just need to get off Xanax. I can still do everything else.
Thinking you had it figured out.
Yeah, just this one stuff, come to find out, like, I'm addicted to everything that makes me feel food. And, anything that makes me feel better. Music. I mean, if anything gives me dopamine, I'm addicted to it. I want more of it. But my dad was always like very level headed. So I called him. I remember I'm sitting in the parking lot about to go into work and I'm bawling my eyes out, dude. I'm stone cold sober. It's been like 8-9 months. And I'm like, dude, like there has to be more to life than just like being told by this 32-year-old loser what to do.
Jeez.
And how to live and how to do chores around the house and stuff. And I just, he was always there to just kind of bring me back to reality.
While you're like blowing up and feeling these big emotions, he somehow manages to keep his
cool. Like it was always just like always an even. It still is today. Like, I don't know if it's necessarily healthy, but he growing up, he just, when he came home from work, he was so successful doing what he's doing, but he came home and he never brought work home. You know what I'm saying? He hid all of his stresses and problems, raising our family from us. In that's just kind of how we were raised. You know what I'm saying? So then when I get sober, he starts to figure out like, okay, we got to talk about some of these things like, for the longest time, he couldn't understand why. How in the world could you flip your truck 7 times and 2 weeks later after being in the hospital for 8 days, 2 weeks later, getting an insurance check, buying a new car and taking more Xanax, drinking, leaving the bar and wrecking? How does one actually do that? And I couldn't come up with an answer. You know what I'm saying?
Like, yeah, but he's not afraid to pose the question, but he's not. I think it's interesting how You know what? We're going to get into this later. I probably should move on to the next question, but I do, like, on that note, just think that it's interesting to hear that he's still approaching it with a question, not how dare you do this? You're horrible for this. You're a piece of crap. Like, it's how does this happen?
Yeah,
And
he just wanted to understand.
Yeah,
like,
he wanted to get it.
Yeah, it was education.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, and
I can
took
see
a long
that.
time. Yeah.
That makes sense. I can see why that would be a big influence. Okay.
Yeah.
So then let's move on to question 2. What would be the title of your current chapter if someone was writing a book on your life?
Couch surfing. No, I'm just, I'd either say like just either gigging or just blowing and going. I feel like I'm just, no, seriously, I feel like I'm telling you, everybody knows this about me, but the busier I am, the better off I am, the better person I'm going to be, the more productive I'm going to be. But you always, in your mind want like those off days, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's been kind of back and forth, but anyways, going back to the blowing, I feel like blowing and going is good because I played it. People don't understand this about music, and that's okay. I'm not asking them to, but just the other day, I'm staying at my parents' house. I have to be in the stockyards at Second Rodeo. I'm playing a gig from 12 to 3.
Mm-hmm.
The stockyards is almost an hour, 45 minutes away from my parents' house, so I got to be there at 11 to load in.
Mm-hmm.
I got to leave the house at 10. Got to wake up at 9. When I get in the car, I consider myself
On the clock.
to
Right.
go to a gig. Okay, so I leave at 10, get there at 10:45. I don't get back home till it was like 5:45.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And people in only 3 hours of that was spent doing what I love.
What you love to do.
All the other time was spent talking to people, and that's just that's part of it. But
you just blow through everything and you keep on going.
Yes, yeah. But the biggest problem is I find myself wishing sometimes that I could go back to Saturday night. Man, I wish I would have acted more interested when this person was talking to me or something like that.
Sure.
Because like I don't know. It's just I could go on and on about that.
That's all right. We're gonna have opportunity to do that. Question 3. When was the most like transformative age or time period for you so far?
When I was, it had to be right around when COVID started. So in 2020, I was what? I don't keep time of sobriety or anything like that. So I don't.
Mm-hmm.
But it had to be those years, right when COVID hit, so 2020 to like 20, up until about last year, probably.
Really?
I'm still, I'm still.
You're in that transformation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I would definitely say that.
But it goes back about the last 3 years.
It starts, in my opinion, when I decided like, okay, I do have I have some sort of problem.
Yeah.
Normal people read 3 bars in 6 months.
I think that's fair to say. That's okay. We're not here to be normal, but all right. So, when you need to feel peace or comfort, where do you go?
Guitar. I was just thinking about that the other day. The reason I started doing this music stuff was because, and I wanted to talk about this. We can talk about it later. But I felt myself. I was, I was sober, and I kind of felt myself getting back. I was working at that desk job, and I felt myself kind of slipping, like getting back into this, the same habits of when I was using but not using type, and I was just like miserable, dude. And so I could honestly tell my therapist or anybody else that the only time I felt peace of mind and could lose track of time is what I like to say, is when I pick up my guitar. That is like the only time.
It's like your meditative state.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I can put my phone down, don't have to look at my phone, and know exactly what time it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Takes you out of the rat race.
Yeah, exactly. It's you're present in the moment finally. You know what I'm saying? Because I spend so much time running around. So so it has to be going to the guitar. And I'm a horrible guitar. It makes me want to get better. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
So now that I do this for a living, like it's on now. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So why did you choose this? Knowing that the uphill battle that you're in right now, why did you choose your current job now as a musician and an artist?
Because I want to be, well, I mean, for reasons I just said, I mean, I felt myself slipping, but I just honestly wanted to be like, I knew working those desk jobs and I knew what I was doing before I started doing music was not sustainable. There was
Mm-hmm.
no way I was going to be able to. I knew at some point, whether it was in a year or 5 years, I would start doing something again to where I just, so uh, I didn't want to. I didn't want to be. It's called like in the in the sober community, it's called. A dry drunk. That's what they call it. A dry drunk. And it's like where, yeah, you're sober, but you're you're miserable. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? It's not even like it's terrible. Honestly, it's worse. That's where I've been in that state. It's worse. You're worse off when you're a dry drunk than you are using,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like nobody wants to be around. It's just terrible. And that's how I was. I didn't want to be like, I don't know. I don't want to be remembered like that, to be honest. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, I felt like I had at least something to offer, and it was like, dude, like you got nothing to lose. You know what I'm saying? You're basically at like you're almost. It's all relative, but you're about as low as you can go, as far as on the
Yeah.
society ladder of having money and being an addict and all that kind of stuff. Like,
If you've got nothing to lose, why not
yeah,
do
why
what it
not?
is, exactly what it is you want to
Yeah,
do?
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. Okay, well, you actually took the next question right out of my mouth. How do you want people to remember you?
I don't. I think about. I just want. I don't. I want to be remembered as somebody that people enjoyed being around, and I feel like sometimes when people first meet me, I have a tendency. I have a resting bitch face like no other, and I have a tendency to come off as some people say
You're not the most
intimidating. Yeah,
approachable.
yeah, of course. And I'm trying, especially given what I'm doing now. I'm trying to be as approachable as I can. Walk in with a smile on my face and stuff like that. But I want to. I want to be like. My one of my best friends in the industry, Josh User, told me a while back. I was on the road with him. We were in this venue out in where was that? 4 hours north of here somewhere. Oh, Wichita. No, no, no. What is the
Middle of nowhere.
Yeah, middle of nowhere. Anyways, there's like 20 people in the crowd, and I was like, he still acted like there were you couldn't you wouldn't have thought that by the way he performed, the way he interacted with the people, that there were 20 people there instead of
Hmm.
7,000. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, he's somebody that I look up to because he told me that leaving. He's like, dude, you gotta leave a good impression, even with the employees at these venues. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Because they have a big influence on whether you come back and stuff. So like, if they liked you, like, yeah, of course they're gonna bring your name up and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I want to be remembered as somebody that, like,
People want to be
yeah, I
around.
want to be around, and for a long, long time. And I'm not perfect, but it's gotten better. But for a long time, I wasn't. You know what I'm saying? I think everybody that knows me could say that. For the better half of 4 or 5 years, I was
Yeah. I
like
mean,
miserable to be around.
but I think, how do you judge that? Like, if you want to be somebody that people want to be around, how did you evolve into that person? I mean, I want to be
I don't
around you.
think
You're
I don't
here.
think I am.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
don't think I am at all, to be honest. And I'm trying. I really am trying. But, for me again, just in my experience, it's been, I use the phrase being present in the moment, but and mindful. But I'm trying, like right now, I have a billion things going on in my mind.
Hmm.
Coming over here, I'm listening to music, thinking, what are you doing, bro? Like, you're never gonna get, all this kind of stuff. But like, I'm trying my hardest to be present right now, because like, what do I have to lose, right? Like, it's just like when I get done with a gig, why not be present and enjoy the fact that people want to take pictures with you, bro? Like,
Yeah.
like they enjoy your stuff that much, and at the end of the day, you wouldn't have a job if it weren't for the people tipping you and the people buying drinks at the venues that come to see live music. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Mhm.
why would I be in this hurry just to get to the next place, or to go to bed, or to be alone? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Which I've done. I've only been doing this for 6 months, and I got in like a lull of just rushing, just
So
taking it.
being present ends up being the thing that makes you more, like, you easier to be around, because you're there and you can actually engage and show up as Jared, versus when you want to get out and you want to dip and you're not present.
Yeah,
you put off that front. You put out that energy. People know you don't want them to talk to you.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Like you know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I don't want people talking, people can tell, and I'm trying to change that. But it's just like I always go back to this, but it's just like being addicted to Xanax. Like you're not ever present in the moment during addiction because all you're thinking about is the next time.
You get to
Yeah,
use.
yeah, yeah. So like say I was using right now and like I came over here and I only had half of it. All I'd be thinking about right now is like, yo, when am I going to pick up more? You know what I'm saying? Like that, and
Mm-hmm.
it runs your life when you're an addict because you
Mm-hmm.
can't stop thinking about
Mm-hmm.
it. And I deal now with that with music stuff. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it seems to be all I'm doing right now.
It's
All I
all you
talk
can
about.
devote to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all I talk about. It's just a selfish. You know, you can get back into like the
You're replacing one addiction with another, but it's a healthy
yes,
replacement.
yes, but it can become unhealthy when you let it rule your
Mm-hmm.
life instead of just being like, wow, I get to play at the Dallas Truck Yard on a Saturday night in front of 300 people that
Mm-hmm.
you never would have played in front of, and you've only been doing this for 6 months. Like, enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Quit worrying. Like, you're obviously you've had enough people, um, compliment you and vouch for you that you're good enough to do it. So why not
Mm-hmm.
just enjoy it?
Yeah.
And have the attitude like I told you that. Look, I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna do my thing, and if you don't like it, like tough luck.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna please everybody.
I want to go back to something though. One thing, like with you mentioning that, like it's or well, I guess I said it, but the meditative state of playing guitar for you and how it takes like you can zone in and you're there and you're present finally. What would you say is like the draw to that for you? Because you weren't always a calm person. Like a meditative state to you is like not something you would have ever talked about. Like
Oh man,
how did you learn about what it feels like to be in that meditative state? I know like you've mentioned in sober living, you guys meditated and you got into that of all the
man,
places,
yeah.
So tell me a little bit about how that journey has come across and how you got to the point where being in a meditative state is something that you recognize is necessary for you.
Yeah, that's a good question. The first thing that came to mind when you asked that is that nobody meditation to me is one of those things where you will never be perfect at it, and a lot of people, you have to work at meditation.
Mm-hmm.
And I am not, and people think meditation has to be crossing your legs and fingers up in the air and humming with your eyes
Mm-hmm.
closed. No,
Right.
meditation can be going and playing golf.
Yeah.
It's a time for me. Meditation is a time when I can literally lose myself in something other than myself, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like right now, I was gonna say this, but the only time in the past probably 3 months that I truly am being 100% present is when I am singing and playing the guitar
Mm-hmm.
during a song in playing a song in a gig, dude. Like if my eyes are closed, you can bet your ass I am fully engaged in what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
that to me right there, that 3 minute song, that the high that I get from that is better than any drug I've ever taken.
Yeah.
And it's something that that I chase, but it's like I've worked at it. Like the meditation stuff is I mean, I feel like meditation is just a vague term. You know what I'm saying? Like a meditative
People have
state.
tried to make it prescriptive,
Yeah.
but it is definitely interpretive.
Yeah, exactly. A meditative state, in my opinion, and from what I've learned going to two different treatment centers and being in sober living where you were forced to meditate. The hardest part about it is getting out of a structured environment like that, coming back to Texas, and then having to apply what you learned to real life.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that, okay, your drug dealer's 20 minutes away down the road. You don't have to take a piss test anymore. You're not going to get kicked out of the house. So like to me, doing all the meditation stuff was easy when you were forced to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Does music hold you accountable to sobriety now?
I don't know if it holds me accountable, but I would definitely feel comfortable saying it attributes a lot to the fact that I'm not, still addicted to Xanax.
Yeah. Because I think what how do you stay accountable once you get out? Right? Like there's AA, there's sponsors, you can do all that, but you don't track your days and you're trying to live in the moment and be present and do things a little bit differently. What's your way of doing that? How do you stay on that track?
I mean, I have to remind myself of it all the time.
Yeah.
Every single time I'm sitting at a gig and there's, I mean, it's going to happen this weekend, and I'm not complaining, but a lot of time I am background noise, and people are, talking, and I'm not asking for them to listen or anything like that, but like, you know, you start doing this for a living, you're playing the same damn songs over and over again. You start thinking like God, there's got to be more to this. There's got to be more to this. And and then when I start thinking about that, that takes me out of the meditate, quote unquote meditative state, or being present in the moment or mindful. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I can have these thoughts while singing a song, these intrusive thoughts that are just, poisonous. You know what I'm saying?
Just like if you're actually sitting there meditating and your thoughts are coming in and impeding on that meditation.
Exactly. No, and exactly. And that for the first 3 months of us meditating like 3 times a day for 45 minutes in treatment, that happened all the time. My eyes are wide open. I'm staring at the ceiling like this is bullshit. Like you've got to be kidding me. You know what I'm saying? But like I started to realize like, okay, this dude hasn't shot up in 10 years and he meditates every day. Maybe there's something, to what he's doing that I should pay attention to. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my answer right there. Is being able to humble myself and say, not everything you do is about you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, I say, I'm not trying to be negative about it, but, and it's not unfortunate, but what I do for a living now is about me. I don't work for a company. I work for myself, and I promote myself, my face, my music, everything like that. So like, I don't know. I can't.
What kind of fears did you have moving away and becoming your own brand, essentially? Like moving away from a job, and you're not really accountable to that many things there. Like you're just an employee, you're just a number, and now you're your employer, you're your motivator, you're your setup guy, your teardown guy, the performer, the artist, all these things. So how did you have fear? Like when you were going to move away from that and just completely step out on your own and become all of those things?
Yeah, that's another good question. Of course, I had a fear. I feel this is something they say in the rooms all the time, but I feel like every human being operates out of fear. Every choice, every decision you make, whether it be big, small, whatever, is out of fear of what, right? Fear of I'm going to lose it. You can go on down the list, but I was so fearful of slipping. The thing I was most fearful of was slipping back into taking, using again and just doing that the rest of my life. And I knew after relapsing and going back to treatment and having to do the whole thing over again after a year-long stint, I knew I was like, bro, like it's not just for everybody else. Like just think about yourself. You're like, you can't put yourself through this again. Like it's not, it's just not, you'd rather, you just don't, I don't know, you don't want to go back down that road. So I was more fearful of going back down that road than the road ahead of with the music stuff. I just don't do well with my mental health when I'm sitting still at a computer. And I've proved that from Hilton, working for Hilton for 8 months in front of 4 screens all day. Like great job, great pay and stuff, but the most miserable I've ever been in my life. And it was the most money I was ever making. You know what I'm saying? So like, that fearful of slipping down the path of misery, using active addiction. That's what I was fearful of.
You and I have talked a lot about like the vulnerability that comes along with doing things like recording a podcast and with doing things like sharing music, and subjecting yourself to that criticism. And you made a post, it was either yesterday or the day before, about somebody that wrote on a dollar bill that they tipped you with, you should just give up or something like that, right? Like, I want to talk a little bit about how, how you use that as like fuel, because you and I have had conversations around like staying motivated, and there was a time where you get a comment and you're like, oh, holy shit. So how do you balance like people's criticism and use that for your fuel when you also have your own voice criticizing you?
Dude, that's my life right now. That's like the best question I've ever heard. It's like if you could phrase my life in a question, it would be that, because uh when you ask that, I think, yeah, somebody did put I find it funny, to be honest. I really don't get my feelings hurt too much. It does take a hit to your pride, of course, but yeah, somebody wrote, "You should give up on a dollar bill and put it in the tip jar," and I found it.
They went out of their way to do that.
Well, they still tipped me. They should have put it on a napkin. They still gave me money, so it defeats the whole purpose. But
Jokes on them.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I kept that one. I'm gonna spend that one. I kept it. But
frame it.
yeah. No, I find that kind of funny. But the outside criticism, to me, my brother tells me this, my dad tells me this all the time. But if somebody's hating on you and somebody really taking the time to do that, like, you must be doing something either right or enough that caught their attention.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, like,
it's kind of like that. What that people always saying, like, no press is bad press.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, kind of, exactly.
Or all press is good press.
Like, if that dude or woman or whoever that was, whatever they were going through in life, like, I don't know what they're going through, but they felt the need to do that. That's fine, because that kind of stuff. There's this dude on YouTube that trolls me and leaves these funny. They're funny, dude, but they're rude comments. And I think that stuff fuels me. What you asked me about the voice in my head. Mm-hmm. So the voice is the outside criticism, that's fine with me. I kind of like it, to be honest. Okay, it does kind of fuel me. Ever since I went to Florida, that's kind of, that I've been doubted for the past 5 years. Nobody ever thought, especially in my family, that I would, especially be here right now.
A lot of people probably thought you wouldn't be alive today.
Well, yeah, probably some, but yeah, so, like, go ahead and doubt me. But when the inner voice, the voice in my head is my worst enemy. Like, my mom tells me that all the time. You are your worst enemy. Everybody knows that about me. I can't. I have a very hard. I'm a head case. I overthink things. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just doing, I just think, and I still struggle with that right now. I'm trying to take the next step in the music stuff, and I want to get a band together and get some music out. And I truly am kind of confused as to where to go to try to get a band together. And I'm trying, but I don't know. I can't.
What stops you from doing things? Like, because I think it's good, right? Because if you let the voices from the outside and the voice in the inside both win, you'd give up, right? At that rate. But you let the voices from the outside be the fuel, and the voice in the inside is the threat.
Yeah.
So how do you combat that?
I don't know. I have no idea. I keep doing what I'm doing, honestly, because I feel like I don't have any other option at this point. Like, yeah. I told you that before we started this. I feel like like I said, the high of playing at a gig or playing a song and stuff like that is so powerful, and you want to chase it so much that I don't think I could ever see myself going back to doing, a quote unquote normal job. You know what I'm saying? Like a 9-to-5 type thing. And so I kind of look at it as like, I don't really have a choice. But it's also like I've been doing a lot of stuff on my own, and I have all these people around me, such a good support system, and so many people, friends and family, to use. But I've yet to kind of, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, mm-hmm. I've yet to accept help, mm-hmm. if that makes sense, mm-hmm. like it's just the same thing with the addiction stuff. I was not accepting the help, mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And it's like with the music, I still haven't come to the point of accepting it. But as far as like combating both of them, like, I don't know. I was doing it last night. I'd written a song 2 nights ago and I thought it was really good. And then I played it again last night and I thought it was horrible. I thought it was terrible.
I do that all the time.
I thought it was absolutely
not music, but
yeah. I thought it was. I was like, bro, what were you doing last night? Like that, that was not good. But again, like I said, I feel like I don't have any other option at this point.
And nothing to lose.
Yeah, that too. Really, I mean, right now I don't even. pay rent anywhere.
Yeah, it's a way to live. The couch surfing is one way to do it, right? And
Yeah.
you know, another thing that you and I talk about all the time is how hard it is to put your life out there. Honestly, like you put your music out there, and like you talked about how you wrote this new song and now it's out, and like even that, when people come to you and compliment you, you're struggling with it at the same time because you're thinking, I don't even like the song. Like I want to talk about the fact that like you write this song, you get it out there.
Nobody likes anybody that's not confident in their own stuff. So I try my hardest to act confident in that the first song that I put out there. But yeah, I still it's fun. I haven't watched the YouTube video.
You haven't watched your own YouTube video?
And I'm not going to.
I had a damn near panic attack when I was at Audrey's house and she wanted to play the trailer out loud on her TV on Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
And Jared, I'm telling you, I think I curled up into a little ball on her couch or something, and I was like, please turn it off. Like, I can't listen to this.
Dude.
And she's like, why? And I'm like, I really? But I think you don't expect that. Like, you don't, when people put something out there, you're thinking, well, they worked on this. They think it's perfect. Nope, flaws and all. It goes.
Yeah.
And it flies. Like,
yeah.
What have you learned since releasing your first song?
I technically it's not really released because it's only on YouTube, but and that's kind of the next step I'm trying to take. But I mean, I wrote that song and started playing it like 4 months ago. Put that video out a few months ago, and then if this tells you anything, I haven't sang another original song at a gig since I wrote that song.
Why?
Because I that's like I mean, my parents have asked me like the why question too, and I'm really struggling with an answer because I can get in front of a microphone in front of anybody ever and sing a cover of somebody else's song with all my heart and soul and know exactly what that song means and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to singing my own stuff, I'm just like, I'm being completely honest. I don't have a lot of confidence in it, and I feel like that's okay somewhat because that's normal.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't let it deter me from from putting more stuff out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest with you, the more I didn't play that song for like a month in a gig, and then somebody was at a gig. It was funny, and she asked me to play my original. I didn't even know she was. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I was like, "Who? Like, how do you know that song? All that kind of stuff." Because like, people don't come to see me. I'm just playing at these places, and she'd asked me to play it, and so I played it, and it's like I thought it sounded a little bit better. So then the next gig I played it,
Mm-hmm.
and now you see what I'm saying. So now I've been playing it. So I guess if it wasn't for people, again, people around me and the people that are helping me and giving me support, or I wouldn't even be playing that song at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, if somebody wouldn't have asked for it, that song kind of would have been an afterthought. I mean, and then the question.
So why put it out if you don't love it?
Yeah, that's a damn good question. One, I felt like since I didn't have any content of my own out, I needed to put something out fast. It was the first like full song, complete song I'd probably written that I thought was decent enough. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I put it out because it's not like I felt pressured, but I just felt like it was it rushed? Yeah, it was probably rushed,
But that's how you learn, right? The confidence comes from the reps. I think that you could put out, it's like what you said about like the night before you go to sleep and you're thinking, oh, I just nailed this. This sounds so great. Or like, oh, I wrote this song. It's perfect. And then you wake up the next morning and then you're like, that was shit. What am I doing? Like, I don't think everybody realizes like when you put out then like a full song and it's out there for everybody else to see. It's not just you judging yourself anymore.
Yeah.
And you don't feel confident in it. Like it's a whole different world. I think where I feel like I would probably relate to you the most is in the sense of like you just get to a point where you just say, screw it. Like the voices aren't going to go away whether I do this or not. Like the voices are going to be there. And I can either sit here and deal with the voices without doing anything, or I can do the thing that I think about doing all the time, anyways. And the voices are just still going to be there.
Yeah.
And if the difference is have voices and be unhappy or have voices and be happy, I'm going to have voices and be happy.
Yes, agreed. Unfortunately, it took, me a long, just a lot of mistakes to get to where, I feel like there's no normalcy anymore, but to be a productive member of society or even be, somewhat present ever,
Yeah.
but
No, that's the truth of it. What advice would you give me? Because you're 6 months ahead of
Sure.
me being in the public eye.
Yeah.
And this is the first time I'm actually putting out a creative project of mine to the public eye.
Yeah.
What advice would you give me?
Dude, I think it's all a mindset thing for me, especially in my experience, just in my, tiny little lifetime. Like when I put something out that I know everybody's going to see, I automatically put my phone away.
Mm-hmm.
Automatically don't, because
I do the same thing.
In the first hour, that's when you get the most attention usually. So I'm going to put my phone away. And I do try to respond to any comment, anybody that's giving me support and stuff, but you can't, I can't imagine how many people that I went to high school with and that I went to college with and that know me and that see this social media stuff. They're like, this.
Do you ever wonder what they think?
Oh, all the time, dude. All the time. I'm sitting here like they probably think I'm just the biggest like joker. Like seriously, because you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to put myself in their shoes, and if I were to like see one of my friends from college trying to do that, I'd be like, yeah, like like good luck. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what. So that's a good question you had. That's not what they think. I've had multiple people see from from my past that I've been, all these different places that I've met, and they've actually taken the time to text me or call me or message me and say, hey, like keep doing what you're doing. And like,
yeah, what your brain tells you is a lie.
Exactly. That's my biggest problem is my brain is I feel like I feel like some of those thoughts can keep me humble, but at some point you see what I'm saying? Like at some point you have to cross that line of like like a quiet confidence, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't want to be cocky.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how I want to come off. But in my mind, if I go up on a stage and I don't think that I can do this, like you are definitely not going to be able to do this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like you kind of have no choices to take the mindset like, okay, well, you're fixing to do this, and like whatever, just do what you best, do your best, and if they don't like it, but I don't know, I would, like I said,
mindset.
Yeah, it has to be a mindset thing because social media is just such a. I find it funny that we're sitting here talking about social.
You and I sitting here talking about like the two people I shit on social media all the time.
Yeah,
and so do you. And here we are, like, how do we deal with something that we hate, but we know is relevant to what we're doing?
Well, and I feel
not let it impede on the way that we view ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like to some degree, am like. I feel like a hypocrite, but I also feel like it takes a shot at my pride if I admit that. You see what I'm saying? That I love social, so I still have to say I hate it, but I have to use it. You see what I'm saying? But even though there's a little part of me that says like, hey, you can put out a reel right now, and somebody will leave you a comment saying you're good, big, blowing your head up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's instant gratification. Like if you
have you consciously tried to stay away from doing that. Like, I think what I'm hearing through a lot of what you're saying is your awareness seems to be pretty sharp, like your self-awareness, and because you catch yourself in all of these moments thinking these things. And I find that interesting. Like, how often do you think you actually catch it, and how much does it slip through the cracks? And like, but or does it take time of you repeating that cycle before you catch it?
Takes a lot of time. Yeah, because like back in the days when I was using, I would just go ahead and let it all snowball. And then when I first got out of the facility in Florida and went to the sober living house, that's when I was a dry drunk. You know, I was so miserable. It was the most miserable I've ever been in my life. I kept telling myself you'd be happier trying to get high on the streets than you would.
Damn, that thought went through your head?
Oh yeah, dude. Because I didn't have a job and I didn't have any friends. It was terrible.
Wow.
And I just thought like, oh my god, uh, but like it it comes back to like what we talked about earlier. You get like sick and tired of doing the same thing over and over again when you know there's a better way to do something or a better way to live. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you just said something funny. Self awareness, like self awareness, in my opinion, can be an absolute it can destroy. I can be way too self aware to the point where
really,
yeah,
like hyper
to the
analytical.
Exactly.
If that's a term, maybe not.
Maybe not. But
it is now.
yeah, we can coin it, but that's a good phrase because that's how I kind of feel like I am sometimes. And I don't. Again, that's just the opposite of how I'm trying to be. I don't know, but it takes a lot of.
I think, but I want to stay on that thought for a second because self awareness being, I think of it as a superpower. But I guess what you're saying here is it can be a crutch too. If you're self aware to the point that you are just criticizing yourself constantly because you see every flaw that you have, there's a dark side to it.
Self awareness and pessimism, or
you walk a fine line.
Yeah, and realism are all like what I would group together.
But there has to be space for self awareness, right? Because it's the thing that stops you from going down route. Do you think that it used to be like self criticism, and is that one reason that you would use?
Absolutely, yeah.
And then now it had to morph into self awareness, and then you had to let that be the thing that stops you from using.
Yeah, that's complex. Yeah, I've never thought of it like that, but yes.
Weird, wild.
No, it is weird, but
it's like it's the other side of it. When you're on the right side of that coin, you can maintain your sobriety, but when you were on the self-critical side of it, it was the thing that led you to not being sober.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh shit. Yeah, I mean, I think, but society is pushing this narrative right now of like meditation and self-awareness. And don't get me wrong, I do all of that stuff. I love it. I eat, live, and breathe this crap all day long. But like, I feel that dark side of it too. And because I do that, I sit here and I'm like, I'm aware that of exactly one thing that I say, how it's going to affect somebody else. And then I'm aware. And so then it'll stop me. And I'm like, okay, is it really going to have that big of an impact all the time? Or am I just sending myself down this constant overthinking path? Or I'm aware that, like, I'm aware of how far I need to go to be the top of the industry that I want to be in. And I'm so aware of exactly where I am right now. And that leads me to see all of these ways that I'm insufficient.
Exactly.
That's like, it's exactly crazy.
Yeah. But like, so I think there's a difference. Yeah, I completely agree with what you just said, and it makes complete sense. I think there's a difference between self-awareness and I just thought of it. It's like it's being self-aware, but also knowing, being okay with being self-aware. I don't know if that makes sense, but like I'm thinking
accepting what you see when you see it,
yes,
and not reacting to it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So self-awareness paired with acceptance instead of that need to control.
Yes, yeah. Need to, accepting that all I can control is what I can do, and if what I'm not, doing, if I can't hit the pillow at night, knowing that you did all you could today with your music stuff, that I'm not gonna You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to
Yeah.
go back down like the.
But I also think it's so difficult because it changes from day to day. Like sometimes you wake up and you just don't have it and you give the best that you could give for that day. And you got to thank yourself for what you give because what my 100% is on some days, like 100% on my best day, on a different day 100% might look like what 30% would be. Like that's giving my all.
Yeah.
But I like if you're comparing it to your best day, like but I could wake up today. Let me put it this way. I could wake up today and be in the best mood and give 100% and lay my head down. We could record this podcast and I feel amazing. I go to bed on this high, whatever. And then tomorrow I wake up and I maybe just overall don't feel as good, but I still give 100%. Like each day, no matter what the tune of the day is, I have to go to bed and make the choice that like I did the best I could with what I had that day. And that has to be enough.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And I battle that uh, every single day. I mean, it's the self doubt,
Yeah.
and you can, you'll constantly ask yourself, like, how did I do enough? I did a lot, but was it enough? Because there's always somebody
But
else.
what metric do you use, right? Like nobody else can measure that.
That's what I'm still trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Honest to God, I'm so new to this and such, so far, in the trenches, which I love, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
I haven't figured that out. I'm still battling that like crazy. Some nights I can go to bed completely happy and fall asleep as soon as I get in bed, and some nights I don't sleep at all.
When you crashed here, you did. I think you fell asleep. You said 5 a.m. or something.
It does. It's not
crazy. Could not be me.
I'm still working. I try to work at that. And to be completely honest, as of late, it's been way more sleepless nights and intrusive thoughts as opposed to, and that's because we've been.
How did you get into that? How did you get back into that swing?
Oh my God, it's the hot. I don't know. That's I don't know the answer to that question. That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
If you did, you wouldn't be in it.
Yeah, that's what I'm still trying to figure out. It's never going to be perfect, but like all any advice I can get from anybody that I can learn from, I'm gonna take. And they've always said the ups and downs, like in doing this, especially when you first start out, like you're not gonna, you've never experienced anything like it. And I thought the ups and downs of putting, drug addiction, all that kind of stuff were bad, but like I'm talking about emotionally.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you just say?
Mental gymnastics.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So the exactly. The project now becomes, okay, you've removed the substance, good for you, whatever. But now let's figure out how to combat the mental gymnastics. I've never heard that term, but combat that, but not use the pill. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So use music.
Yeah, exactly. But
do you feel like you've done a good job so far of like learning to use that music as the replacement? Or do you even want that to be the replacement? Does it make you nervous for it to be at all?
No, it has to be, because it's the only thing that I've found since I started trying to even stop taking Xanax that truly even compared to, what, like I'm a drug addict. I admit that. I know that. I'm not immune to that. So like the idea is to now figure out how you can live a healthy, happy life.
What does happiness mean?
Yeah.
How does it feel to be happy?
That's the question of life. When somebody asked me that, I would answer it with, to be somebody that's truly happy is able to be alone in their own thoughts without a distraction, whether it be a phone, driving in the car, listening to music. I'm talking about when you're going to bed and you don't have, everybody knows, you don't have that thought, and it's not a problem. I have the thoughts all the time, but that's when I'm happiest. That's in my experience. I'm happiest when I can go to bed at night knowing that you did the right thing today. You know what I'm saying?
Peace.
Yeah, peace of mind. Exactly. But happiness is like, I spent so long. So so long unhappy. Obviously, because I had to take, I had to take something to escape from myself.
What were you so unhappy with?
I mean, there's two different things. Like if we worked on this in counseling, but one, I don't talk about it a lot, but my therapist seems to think, and I kind of agree with her, but that the pills were taken to escape having to manage type 1 diabetes.
Mm.
Like I've been talking with you on this podcast for an hour or whatever, and I've looked at my blood sugar every 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So it is constantly on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I started to think about that, I'm like, damn, yeah, because when I take the pill, like I didn't have to somehow still control my diabetes, obviously, because I'm still here, but like,
Because it was reflexive, not
yeah,
because you had to
exactly.
think
Yeah,
about
I
it.
didn't have to think about it. It was dread, I'm not saying I dread it all the time. It's a part of me, and I accept that. But like, she thinks I don't give. I keep saying I think, and I still don't give myself enough credit. That type 1 diabetes is a chronic disease that I have to control every single day of my life.
Mm-hmm.
It's taken for granted by my friend, and this is okay. I'm not complaining. I completely get it. That's perfectly fine. It's kind of how I want it, but it's taken.
You don't have to defend your experience.
Yeah,
Go
but
ahead.
it's taken advantage of by my friends. It's taken advantage of by my family. Nobody, you know.
Taken advantage of meaning.
Yeah, maybe that's not the right term. It is.
Taken for granted.
Yeah, maybe it's just an afterthought now. You see what I'm saying? Like when my blood sugar's 200 or 250 all night, you can damn sure, and that happens a lot. You can damn sure bet that the next day I'm not. It's not going to be good. I'm going to be tired. I'm going to be very lethargic. It's going to be an up and down of blood sugar and stuff. So like, but it's like, oh well, he deals with that, so he still has to be.
It's desensitized.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but it's just kind of like it's like a, oh, I could deal with that too type thing. You know what I'm saying? Like people just they don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't, and that's okay. I'm not asking anybody to, but I'm asking myself to sit back and take a little credit of like, okay, dude, like you do deal with this every day, like, and you do a pretty damn good job of it.
Yeah.
So like, why not give yourself a little bit more credit? But
I want to go back to your answer from the beginning about 2020 being the origin of your change, and you're in that transformation right now. What's changed so far?
oh, uh, a big part of it, I think, is my well, either emotional or spiritual state.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense.
You did turn hokey pokey on us, and I'm so here for it.
Yeah, no, it's just like they talk about being spiritually fit. Doing things outside of yourself. Um, for me, praying. I know I'm not being the best me. I know when I go through weeks of not praying when I go to bed, and it's just so it's like, why didn't you? You know what I'm saying? Like you could have. Why didn't you? You should have. You thought about it, but you didn't. But I know, because what for me again, that's me getting out of myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm able to be present in the moment, even if it's for a minute. But I know for a fact when I used to actually try and meditate. I don't do that anymore. But it's funny you ask that. I feel like nothing's changed.
Oh my God, really?
Like I'll be completely honest. Like it's like when you don't see somebody. I don't know if it's because I spend every day with myself, or like I really don't feel like that much is really changed.
Well, you pinned it as a transformation point, right? That was the start point.
I know, and because there has physically from I'm talking about I've had 14 different addresses in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't walk for 2 years because I had a thing on my leg. Like,
and you don't think you've transformed internally?
No, I have. For some reason, I just don't feel. I just don't feel like I have. I know I have. I can honestly tell you, like, yes, I know I have. But again, I feel like it's like the what you said. inner criticism, like or the negative self talk.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Can I say some ways that, as somebody who's known you for a long time, I think you've changed, and you can tell me if you agree? Okay. So I think that you've changed in the sense that Jared in high school couldn't talk about it. No, okay, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go back. Nobody in high school is going to talk about this shit. But Jared 2 years ago, or Jared 3 years ago, back at the start of 2020, didn't meditate, didn't know peace, didn't care for peace, didn't try. Jared 5 years ago didn't want anybody to hear him sing. And now you're willing to let anybody hear you sing. Like I think what's changed is that I look at you and you've released your fear of judgment
Hmm.
because you've judged yourself every which way from Sunday. So there's no way somebody can judge you worse than you've judged yourself.
Hmm.
And so you let go of it and just owned who you were and what you wanted. Everybody else's opinion be damned. And I think, in my opinion, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, actually, please do, but my favorite part of your story and the root of why I felt like you needed to be here today for this conversation is because you're a testament to change being a good thing and change not being like change is the only way to evolve and be happy
Yeah.
if you're stuck. And even though there's all these fears that come along with it, there's the risk of people hating it, there's the risk of financial trouble, there's the risk of, literally like safety, right? With the fact of like you're driving all the time and, you also, are putting yourself in environments around all of your vices, right? Like there's all these risks associated with it, but you knew that if you didn't change and you didn't step into you, it was a guaranteed fail. And so I think it's crazy to me to look at your evolution and see how much you and I have space now with each other for conversations that I don't have with people that I've known for 20 years, but it's because you've gotten to know yourself.
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. It's because I spent so much time numb. It's just what I did, unfortunately. But I don't know. Yeah, I know things have. If I didn't believe in change, then I don't. I'd either be in a jail institution or dead. But like,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's like it's just. I feel like it's just a constant journey. You know what I'm saying? Like, I work to find the fine line between it's never enough and you did enough today,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's my biggest struggle right now. Uh, is knowing you asked it earlier, but knowing what is enough,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you don't have a schedule, when you don't have anybody telling you anywhere or when to get up or anything.
KPIs.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You have nothing. You have no
Mm-hmm.
accountability. Like how do you know it's enough? Like the answer is you don't. But that's what I'm saying. Like you.
Giving it to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Going back to being spiritually fit and mindful and present. Like if that's really the case, then enough is enough,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll know when enough is enough,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll have confidence. So it's not that I don't. It's not that I'm never in that state. It's just that I'm in the opposite state more.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in that state
It's your
currently.
ability to come back.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like that's it currently in my life. Like the time that I'm in that state is when I'm playing music.
Mm-hmm.
Do I work to find times down the road where yes, I want to be in that state all the time?
Mm-hmm.
That's the journey. That's what I in my experience I'm working towards. But like, uh, I mean, I don't want to ever settle, but it is hard to be my own worst critic or worst enemy. I guess I don't know.
I think it's definitely hard not to be your own worst critic, but in the evolution of Jared, it's going to continue, right? Like change is a constant anyways,
Yeah.
and it's That's what I kind of like about that question is like I'm asking somebody to look back and decide a transformative period, but when are you not transforming?
Yeah.
And I want to see what people think, right? Like I think it tells you something about the way that they view the world.
Hmm.
And, like yours is a current state of change. Your life has been flipped upside down. And I also, again, I've got a million reasons I want you to be here, but this is another reason is because your life is upside down. And this is the part that people need to see.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
It's
agree.
not
That's why.
perfect. It's messy. I don't
Yeah.
want you to have an answer to every single question that I have
Yeah.
because if you do, then that implies to the people listening that you're this fully formed person and you don't have to change and you're perfect as you are. Fuck no.
Yeah.
Like you're not.
Yeah.
So in that, same, thought track, then if you if we can talk about the places that it's not perfect, then maybe there's opportunity for other people to ask themselves those same questions and know that somebody else doesn't know it either. But you have to try. You have to talk about it. You have to figure it out. And like I think it's so fun to watch somebody change. And I think a lot of people lose friends during change, but I feel like you and I have actually become better friends
Yeah.
while you're changing. And I think sometimes, you know, that's really when you kind of learn who the people worth appreciating are.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. Yeah. Uh, yeah, I couldn't agree more.
I think the big takeaway here sounds like the fear, the judgment, the voices in your head, all that shit's not going to go away.
Mhm.
It's not about waiting till the day that it's gone and you're fully healed to start what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's about accepting that those things exist and doing it anyways.
Controlling or using I say it all the time, but a daily reprieve, right? Like there's no cure for addiction and there's no cure physically for type 1 diabetes, but like there's a daily reprieve. Daily
Mhm.
reprieve is my insulin pump for my, see what I'm saying? That's what controls
Mhm.
my diabetes. The daily
Mhm.
reprieve for addiction for a lot of people is the 12 step program or,
The music for you.
yeah, or music. And it can go any different way, but something that's not, again, destructive, that's not just going to tear down your life and everybody else's around you. But, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, hey, I'm here for all of it. Okay. So I'm trying to be conscious of your time that we have left to keep chatting, but one thing that we haven't talked a lot about, but it's obviously come up, is the diabetes. And how old were you when you found out?
8808 on my parents' wedding anniversary. Uh, 11.
What was that like finding out at 11?
I was terrible. It was horrible. I mean, I can remember it picture perfectly the whole entire experience, but uh, just being told that your blood sugar is 700 and you have this chronic disease and there's, it's pretty rare. So there's not a lot of education in the public eye about it or anything or funding towards it.
Mhm.
Um, but where we went did a very good at Cook's Children's Hospital did a really good job of educating us. But still, when you leave the hospital, you're leaving with like now you have to take a shot every single day or
Mhm.
multiple. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are
Mhm.
you talking about? Like, so it was, yeah, it was not fun, by any means.
Sounds like a lot of responsibility for an 11-year-old.
Yes, and my parents helped me out a bunch. I mean, without them and one of the nurses that helped me when I was diagnosed, like I wouldn't been educated as fast for sure. My mom being who she is, as soon as I was diagnosed, she's just diving into figuring out everything. She knows more about type 1 diabetes than I do, and she works for JDRF now, Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. So,
Mhm.
um, she helped out a lot. But I mean, it's the experience was, yeah, it sucked. And now I'll be honest, like I don't know, I don't have an option. I've let the diabetes like mentally. I'm not talking about physically and what I'm doing physically, but just mentally, where I am in my life, like. But when my blood sugar and my diabetes is out of control, like I'm not ever present in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
just, it's terrible. You know, it's miserable. So that's why I
Your
am
body's
very.
working against you in
Yeah,
that
exactly.
moment.
That's why I am very paranoid about my blood sugar a lot. But I do have good control over it because I want to feel physically good.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Is it tough to manage with everything you're doing right now?
Yeah. Every time I start a new phase in life, it's always been like that. Quitting baseball, going to Florida, you know, all these different, having all those surgeries, like, you know, your body reacts differently. It starts absorbing more insulin or less insulin, so you're more resistant. Yeah, it takes days, weeks, sometimes months to get in a good groove, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because you're waking up at different times, you're eating. Right now, I'm still trying to figure out, you know, I can't eat a
How
big
to take
meal.
care of
Yeah, I
yourself.
can't eat a big meal before I eat because it just makes I can't sing that well. It just makes me feel full and stuff. But so then I pig out after these gigs at 11 o'clock, and it's like, of course, it's Whataburger or something else. Like that's like the
Mm-hmm.
worst thing you can do, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and of course, it's not good for physical health or you know my diabetes. So yeah, it's been tough to manage so far. But we'll figure it out.
Did you feel like it was, what was like the overarching emotion around it? Frustration or?
Confusion.
Mm.
I have like absolute confusion, just like and the what do you call it the playing the why me, you know what I'm saying?
The victim
Yeah, the
game.
victim game. Yeah, yeah.
I
I
feel
spent
like
so long. I spent so long like playing the every day. It seemed like there would come a point where I just throw a little you know tantrum in my mind, like why did this happen to me? You
poor
know?
Jared.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You know, it's just like
Mm-hmm.
and come to find out down the road, like you know, it's dude at least I tell people this every day. Everything around type 1 diabetes, not every day, but every time somebody asks about this, but type 1 diabetes is like, yes, it's a chronic disease, but dude, at least I live with a manageable disease.
Mm-hmm.
That if I have the really the mental strength to make myself do what I know is best and control it,
Mm-hmm.
then like I'm gonna live. I can live as
You,
long as
yeah, you
anybody
have an
else.
option to
It's not like I
live.
have terminal cancer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like
But a lot of people in therapy now, it's really common for people to be like, well, that's not a good mindset. Like, do you think that that mindset helps you to take to take the route of somebody else has it worse? I've heard so many people talk about like, yeah, well, then you're not validating your own emotions. I think personally that you can validate your own emotions while recognizing that somebody else has it worse and allowing that to just mean perspective.
yeah, I completely agree, and I feel like I just did telling
Exactly.
you exactly,
Yeah.
you know, telling you that it sucks, and anybody that has it uh, would say it sucks, but like, but if I didn't think the way I do, then I feel like again I
Just
would be
succumb to all the
alive.
circumstances.
Yeah, I would be miserable. You know,
Mhm.
like who wants to spend every single day playing the you know, the why am I a drug addict? Why am I a type 1 diabetic? Like, dude, like,
You did it,
play, yeah, exactly.
and you felt like shit.
Yeah, play the hand you were dealt. And, like, this is, you know what I'm saying? Like, own up to what you are, who you are,
Mhm.
and figure out uh, my dad tells me this all the time, to live a happy and healthy, like, sustainable life, you know, life. Just like,
Mhm.
uh,
Always been about the simple pleasures.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But, like, you know, just again, being happy and healthy. And I like,
And healthy looks different to different
of
people,
course,
you
it's all
know?
that's completely relative, but everybody, in my opinion, knows what it is.
Mhm.
You know the
Everybody
times when
knows
you're
the
going through.
answer.
Yeah, exactly. So, uh,
So with how you feel now, how did do you feel like a victim anymore ever? Or are you
I wish I
able
could
to
say I
put that
did. I
away?
wish I could say I didn't, but yeah,
Yeah.
I don't ever express it, and I don't let like myself go down that rabbit hole
Mhm.
of you know. But yeah, of course, when I'm woken up by my pump because at 3 a.m. and I'm out of insulin. I've got to change the damn thing, and it's going to take 10 minutes. I got to do all this stuff. Like, yes, there was without a doubt.
Sometimes you play that violin, baby.
Exactly. Yeah. But I've just been very fortunate to have the support system that I have and the resources and that I've been able to manage it with the doctors and stuff. But it is. Uh,
It's such a testament to the way that things go up and down. Like, you can feel this whole spectrum of things. Like, you can still feel like a victim sometimes. You can feel the happiest you've ever been. Like, you can still feel your intrusive thoughts, and you can also feel peace when you're playing the guitar. It's like all of these things exist, and that's what makes a person. Like, there's a time, it's about the balance of those emotions. It's about the balance and of how you manage those things. Like, yes, I feel like a victim when it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I have to wake up and do all this crap that other people don't have to do. A
Yeah.
girlfriend of yours doesn't have to, at a time in your life, doesn't have to do. Like,
Yeah.
no one around you that you surround yourself with has to do it.
Yeah.
But then that passes through you. You don't sit in that victim space. Like, you're allowed to feel that way and you're allowed to be a victim, but move through it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I spent and I feel like a lot of my time using was spent playing the.
When you couldn't get out of being a victim.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That makes a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get you where you are today. What's next for Jared? What are your goals? What's ahead of you?
Oh, we're going to the moon.
What's on the moon?
My goal is to be a successful singer songwriter and have a band. That's my goal.
Okay.
We'll get there. I just don't. We got to start taking some action on it, right?
Gotta start making some moves. Okay. Where can people find you?
Okay, right now I have, let's see, a song on YouTube. I don't have enough stuff out, but a song on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. I play a lot of acoustic gigs around Dallas, a lot in Fort Worth and Waco. But yeah, so hopefully soon I'll have some music out on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever. Not hopefully, I just needs to. It's a matter of when.
Yeah. What's your Instagram so people can give you a follow if they want to?
Just all lowercase.
We will link the YouTube to your original song in the show notes. And then the last piece of the puzzle here is, who are you going to introduce me to be my next guest and why? This is how we're ending every episode so we can build our network.
I'm going to do my brother.
Okay. Why?
I was thinking about that on the way over here, and it's because that dude, he, for one, has a story to tell, and two, I'm starting to learn that he's very, he's one of the most like mentally resilient people I know. He's been going through a lot of stuff as of late, and he hasn't let it tank him to the point where I told him, like, if I was going through what he was going through, I would, I'd be back in rehab or somewhere. So, and because also I think what you have to offer him to talk about is he has like a good view on those things. Like he doesn't like to talk about this stuff, so it's going to be pretty interesting, like to get him vulnerable with you.
I think we can do it.
That's the whole point of this. You know what I'm saying? Like I have to be vulnerable. But
he doesn't. Yeah. He's choosing to be by being a guest. Which, by the way, Jared's gotten his buy-in. He's agreed.
Yeah. I think it was my brother. He has a really good story to offer and what he does for a living. He's very successful. So yeah, I think it'll be good.
I think we've got some content to cover with another pool boy. Yeah. All right, awesome. Well, listen, Jared, thank you so much for being here today. Everybody, check out the show notes for links to all of Jared's socials and music. And can't wait to have you back here in a year, see where you stand. We'll do a Where Are They Now? It's going to be great. Yeah. And to wrap things up, this is the part where I have to give the disclaimer that the I Think You Should Meet podcast and its content, posted by me, Emily Curry, are presented solely for general informational and entertainment purposes. The use of information on this podcast or materials linked from this podcast is at the user's own risk. This podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, professional coach, or mental health practitioner. Users should seek the advice and assistance of their healthcare professionals on any related medical or mental health conditions and should not delay or disregard obtaining any such assistance. All right, that's it for today's episode. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in.